There you are. Welcome to Zen Fits here in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. But then you two are the center of the world. The title of this talk, this Zen Fit, is The Wound of Occam's Razor. Occam's Razor. We all hear that and throw it around, but rarely do we experience it in our life. So basically, Occam's razor was Occam was a medieval philosopher who said that when given a bunch of complex conclusions, it's the simple one that is true. And I was reading up on this in Wikipedia, and it was talking about, when it terms medical conditions, if you hear hooves, don't imagine zebras. Or if you hear hooves, think horses instead of zebras. If you hear hooves, like listening, don't think zebra, think horses instead of zebras. Occam's razor. So let me give you basically what I've been experienced about this. Is that 2 years ago I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and I got the third stage, and my treatment was radiation and hormone therapy. And hormone therapy, I was going to get it for 2 years, which was every 3 months or 6 months I'd get a shot. And the side effects of hormone treatment was weak leg muscles and hot flashes. Like menopause, so it's kind of like male menopause. And so anyway, I'm getting into this, and I begin to notice, oh, by the way, after I've completed the 2 years treatment, and the cancer is undetectable, or is gone, or whatever. Anyway, as I progressed in this treatment, I began to experience more and more leg fatigue. I could only, instead of mowing the lawn, I could only mow a tenth of it before I had to go sit down, just exhausted, fatigue. And the fatigue was increasing. And so I was saying, well, it's the hormone side effects. And so I I went to the doctor, and I began to get, leg, back, leg, my whole system was just getting weaker and weaker and weaker, and so go to the doctor, and so we're looking for, I would explain my side effects, and so we began to look for other causes, and progressed, and gradually thought it might be my heart, so I went to a heart doctor, and because this is beginning to be debilitating. Just wake up tired, and no energy, and even in my talks, there was no spring. It's just like drained all the time, and so I went to the heart doctor, and he says, "Why are you here?" And I begin to describe all my symptoms and the hormone, side effect from the hormone treatment, and he said, "You need some Gatorade." So I went to Costco and bought a box of electrolytes, and I filled up a bottle of water. I was drinking some. I had been. Well, actually, I had not really increased my water consumption until a little while ago. Really trying to drink more water. But anyway, so I mixed a bottle of the electrolytes, and it was like, whoa! I was revitalized. I could feel my whole body coming back to life again. It was like spring again. This is good stuff. So in other words, I was hearing zebras instead of horses. the simple answer to my, you see what happens with hot flashes is that you sweat. So I'm like sweating profusely an hour every day sometimes. Sometimes it's a little space, but mostly about every hour I get a hot flash and my whole body is wet. So I'm like working out all the time, and I'm not drinking, and I can't, the doctor said, well, you can't replace that with water, you need electrolytes, Gatorade. So, and I just thought this was the funniest thing in the world. I was more exhilarated by the idea of the simplicity of it, the absurdity of it, than I was actually by the actual rejuvenation of my energy. So I was wounded by Occam's razor, the simplicity of it. Now my practice is I am prone to believing my assumptions. And I'm almost like neurotic about that. And my wife is very down to earth and very practical. And so our relationship is always about my assumptions that it's zebras, and she's pointing out that it's horses. Zebras and horses. This is a very good metaphor, a working metaphor. When you run up against a complexity that seems to have no simple solution, practice Occam's razor. Think horses instead of zebras. What is the basic assumption? So my basic assumption, my fatal flaw, was reading on Google that the side effects of hormone treatment are muscle loss, weak muscles, weakness, you see. So assuming that, everything that followed, the complexity that followed, which was, and at one time, I was complaining of my lower back ache and aching and all that, and thought, well, maybe the cancer returned, because prostate cancer will go to the bone, so maybe there was bone cancer. So I went through finding out that it wasn't bone cancer. And so then well, it must be the heart. So I go through finding out it's not the heart, So the point is that if we stand on an assumption that's not investigated, the world becomes very complex, and we begin running off looking for zebras when it was just horses. Doggone it, I assumed I had. I hope you heard this. My thing, I forgot to put this on. I guess you heard it. Anyway, so I've been wounded by Occam's razor. Now that's ironic, you see, because Occam's razor, simplicity, heals. So the wound of Occam's razor is healing. This is Zen, Zen-y stuff, But the sword of Prajna in Zen is Manjushri's sword. And this sword is flashing. It's the aroused mind that doesn't rest on any assumption. It's very simple. Zen is arousing the mind that does not rest on any assumption. Like, I'm fatigued because of the side effects of the hormone treatment, and sweat instead of sweating and depleting my body of electrolytes, which is very simple. And anybody who practices sports or anything knows that, when you sweat a lot, you drink some sport drink, Gatorade or something like that. Athletes know that. Of course, I was not an athlete, so I didn't. Anyway, you get the point here. Arouse the mind that does not rest on any assumptions. So what does that mean is that you have to investigate your assumptions. Is this true? Now, any good troubleshooter will do that. You call up some tech support and you got this big problem and you're confused, and he will always go, well, did you plug in the computer? You know, a good tech support will go back to the original assumption and question that. So this is what Zen is all about. This is what Zen Fits is all about. So when you question your original assumptions, boom, everything fits. Everything fits. That's Occam's razor. It's very simple. In simplicity, everything fits in simplicity because simplicity means one. It means one. The simple is one. And when there is one, there is no complexity. There is no proliferation of theories and explanations and causes, you see. So our society today is trapped in the complexity of causes. We just know everything is a complexity of causes because we're not applying Occam's razor. Is this true? Is it true that the hormones, that the weakness in my body is caused by the hormone treatment? Is that true, you see? Not questioning that. It was the return of cancer, and no, it was heart failure, and advanced old age, whatever. So be wounded by Occam's razor. Be wounded by Occam's razor. This is the healing cut. The wound. If you get into religion, this is the wound of Jesus, or the wound that heals. And the only really equivalent to that cut or that sword in our society, now get ready for it, is the wedding knife. Go to a wedding, and they take out a sword if you're military, or a big butcher's knife, and they joyously wound the cake. They cut the cake. They wound the cake and serve this fragmented cake to the families and and heal the families and unite the families through the wound of the wedding cake, the fragmentation that unites, the wound that heals, the wound that instead of dividing into more complexity, reverses it and, ironically, brings together. The wound that heals in Zen is Manjushri's sword, the bodhisattva of compassion, prajna, and in Christianity, it's the Eucharist. You break the bread in order to heal. And in everyday life, it's Occam's razor. It's the razor. It's the cut that unites through simplicity, which is the one. Occam's razor. Thanks for dropping in.